Hi there, this is Tuhin and welcome to my channel Varsacoder. So in today's video, I'm gonna describe about absolute or relative path and URLs. So the term absolute or relative comes whenever we are adding a file, maybe remote or local, into a different file or inside the same file. So why I am saying adding? Because it has different purpose. Like when it's a markup language like HTML, so what happens, we are just adding some source, putting some links, so here it's not we are directly including a file inside it. And in case of a programming or scripting language, like let me just show you an example like this one. This is a JavaScript file that will be running inside a Node.js environment. So here whenever we are including some module, including some JavaScript files, so all the functionality present inside those files, they will be also imported inside this file. So this is what we can say, that we are actually importing something. So now I am going to show everything depending on the HTML file, as I can open it under my local server or as an independent file. Okay, now see, here we have a reference for a CSS file and the URL is starting with a single dot. And here we have a source of a JavaScript file that is loading with double dot, and sometimes also it may start with a single slash or without any slash. So all these kind of URLs are called a relative URL. So the content of a relative file loads after loading the main URL. After loading the main URL, the browser decides the actual path for that file depending on the relative path, and it loads the content. And when it's the complete URL or absolute URL, so you can think that browser keeps creating the path and just loads the content directly. So here is the layout of the content. I opened it as an independent file. It's present inside my inside the C drive, XAMPP, HTDOC tutorials, absolute relative, and then the index.html. And the same thing I opened under my local server, so it's just localhost tutorials / absolute relative. Now let's go back into the file again. So this is the file, and just for showing example of a absolute URL, I took this. Actually it also relative. Okay, so here is my folder absolute relative that I opened with VS Code. So in the sense of VS Code, the absolute dash relative is the root folder, and under it I have the index.html, that is this one, and assets folder, and we have the CSS image.js folder inside it. So now let's start describing the actual things. So I'm taking this one, the image source. So let's see, I'm starting with dot slash. Okay, so when I am putting dot and slash, it denoting the current directory, so that will be the absolute relative next to absolute relative. Okay, let's see, again I'm putting this. VS Code is very friendly. Now under assets I'm putting assets C, then I will put image. Okay, here we have two guy, bg.png, that is this gray background one, and second one is this one, varsacoder.png. so see, it's inside assets, image, varsacoder.png. so this is the thing. Okay, now one thing that I want to clarify to you, that if we put the dot slash at any place, it will always denote the current folder, I mean next to current folder. Like see, now I just placed dot slash next to image, and it's showing the bg.png and varsacoder.png from here. Now if I select this guy, varsacoder.png, we can still show. Let me just save it. Okay, and just reloading it. See, it's all right. So okay, all right. So now let's go for double dot. So before just jumping into double dot, let me just clarify something to you. So when we will now see, we are inside absolute slash relative. Okay, if I see it here again, we will see that we are inside absolute and relative. So the current path is absolute relative slash, I mean this much, and under this is our file index.html. okay, so now whatever it's loading, maybe dot or single dot, double dot, slash, everything is now depending on this path. okay, so now this single dot means that we are under this guy, absolute relative. Fine. So now if I place double dot, what it will occur, it will denote one level up, I mean this one, tutorials. So let me just show you. So here I'm just placing another dot, and let me just delete this slash, and again I'm putting it. See, it's just now suggesting the next level, that is absolute relative. See here, now we reached into the tutorial folder. Okay, now we reached here tutorials, and it's suggesting this one, absolute relative. Inside it we have the index assets, whatever that is opened here. Our project folder is absolute relative, but we reached one level up, that is tutorials. So let's just save it, and I am going to reload this page. Okay, this is the domain version and here is the folder version, file structure version, whatever. So if I load this image in new tab, let me just open image in new tab. So here you can see what I was saying, that here we do not have this folder absolute relative. Here we do not have this folder absolute relative. We placed the double dot inside our index.html, so it just denoting the tutorials, then the assets, image, then versagora.png. okay, so everything is clear to you. Now again if I just double dot slash, and you can see if I place this absolute relative here, okay, then assets, then image, then versagora.png. so now we can get back all our things. Okay, awesome. So now you know the things are not so much structured in real time, and maybe sometime you need to generate the front-end code through your back-end code, or maybe sometime you are cloning any URL, and there after cloning the URL you have to set the path, you have to map the path of all these kind of links, scripts, images depending on the URL path. So in that kind of cases you need more concept of the absolute or relative path. So let me just show you some more thing, like let's make it some more interactive at this point. So here I'm just going to show you that I can put the double dot at anywhere and can map it. It just for example, it's not mandatory, everything working here, just for showing. Okay, so I'm just putting the double dot here, double dot slash. Okay, so you can see that now again we went back to our main folder absolute relative, and it's now skipping the assets. Okay, so if we see the folder structure, so we just after before image we just added two slash two dot and slash, so it's going one level up and selecting this one absolute relative. We are now inside absolute relative. So now we can also again, if we select, like let's just save it and reload it, again the image gone. And if you want to see the why it's loading, so I can show you that now we are here under the tutorials, absolute relative, and the assets gone, directly it's starting from image. So this is the thing. So again we can do like before, or can just add here the assets. So everything will be okay again. See, so this is how the double dot slash thing works. Okay, now let's remove all the slashes, all the dot, so like this. So when there is nothing, no dot, no slash, no slash just before at the starting, so it denotes the current folder, current path. So for example, now we are here, we are directly here, we are again here, so under absolute relative. So if we load it, it should work. Okay, this is the thing. Now there is nothing, we just don't need to describe it in more detail. Okay, now let's go for the single slash. Okay, it's very interesting. See, now when we are putting the single slash based on our VS Code, this is our root folder, root directory absolute relative. Okay, but now this is our root folder absolute relative. Okay, but not for the browser or not for this file. When we are accessing it through in this way, then it denotes the root, this C drive. Let me show you. We placed a slash, so now the logo URL will be C and then the slash and then the assets and other things. Let me reload it. Okay, it's gone. So C assets image, and it will be same for here. Now when you have a domain, so in that case you will have this this is your root localhost. Okay, if you have something.com, so something.com will be your root. So let me reload it, it will be also okay. Now see, localhost assets image varsagora.png. so this is the thing. When we are putting a single slash at the starting, it points the root directory. Okay, in VS Code it will work here because this is the absolute relative is the root for the VS Code for now. So I just changed the file content as before, and again all other relative links are going to work same as the image source that I just described. And one thing to mention, that all the relative path that present inside a specific file, that will always depend on that file path. For example, if we have some kind of relative links inside this style sheet, that will depend on this style sheet location, not on the main URL, not on the main path that's loading into the browser. So for example, I am going inside CSS and here we have style.css. Not actually, I went inside assets, then inside CSS and then style.css. Now take a look at this part body. Then we have this guy image bg.png, that is this background, gray background. So the thing is we need to note here that here we are using the double dot slash. That's mean we are going one level up of this CSS folder, so that is inside assets. Now currently we are inside assets, and then we are going into the image. Okay, the image file, and then this bg.png. So this is how to deal with absolute or relative paths. Okay, so hopefully this video was helpful for you, and this video was very first video of mine on YouTube. So if you have any kind of suggestions for me, please do mention that in comment, or if you have any topic based suggestions, please also mention that, and do like, subscribe. Thank you.